Hey, motherfucker! What's up, friends? We're back. We're back into it, man. We're back. That just means we're all the way back. What's up, friends? My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to Friday Q&A. We are going to be testing out tonight 1.2 versus 1.4 versus 1.6 inside, same batteries, similar motors, all up weight increases as the size gets bigger, of course. That's obviously what she said. But yeah, we're gonna, I don't know if I've ever done, I'm pretty sure that I've never compared all three back to back to back. I just happen to have three builds, all with bi-blades, all set up to be pretty lightweight. You could probably shave a fraction of a gram off of each one of these. The 1.6 inch build, I think, is the most extreme sort of in terms of no, it's not. It's on a heavy AIO. It's on an X12 AIO. But yeah, these are pretty representative of the weights that you're going to be at. To give you an idea, the 1.2 inch build, which is basically an Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop, is 17.2 grams. The 1.4 is 17.9, and then the 1.6 is fat, as they all are. 1.6 inch rigs are heavy. 23.3. When you go to a bigger motor, when you go to the bigger propeller, when you go to the bigger frame, and the fact that this has an X12 AIO. This build was very kindly sent to me by Cloudhopper, and I've kept it together ever since. I've really been tempted to put a BT 3.0 on this X12 and do a 2S build, but I haven't yet. I probably will at some point, and I'll move this AIO. What I'll do is I'll take this AIO out, and I'll replace it with a 2G4. That'll bring the weight down on this a little bit. And like, you know, look, the Happy Model X12 AIO seems to be outrageously good on 2S, so we might as well use it on 2S, you know what I mean? It's a little bit heavier than the X12, and like, you know, we should be using stuff at their sort of the end of their performance envelope, and 2S is kind of that. So yeah, that'll happen at some point here. But for today, 1.6 inch rigs are heavy, man. They're so you can build them to be a little bit lighter than this, but like I said, this is sort of representative. Hey, anybody that has a GoPro Hero 8. I have an extra battery, I have an extra battery bay door, and I even have a 3D printed door with a hole in it that you can plug in. Let me know. I'll send them to you for damn near nothing. Otherwise, I'm going to throw them away, and you don't want that, do you? Hey, over on my Etsy store, I'm 3D printing stuff for people. You're not 3D printing. You're not paying for the actual designs themselves. You're paying for the material, my time, and the wear and tear on the machine. I have all these colors. I have every color of the rainbow. And then I have like an opaque purple here, an opaque green, and I think there's even an opaque orange. Yeah, there's an opaque like light orange that I have. So yeah, whatever color you want, whatever you need, I can 3D print it for you. I am going to be adding a bunch of specific 3D prints to the Etsy store, but in the interim, there's a bunch of McStinky mounts over there. The price for those McStinky mounts covers any of the 3D printed stuff that I'm doing that's small. So just add a bunch of McStinkies to your cart and then put a note in that says, hey, please print me X, Y, and or Z, and I'll hook you up. Etsy is linked over on CiottiFPV.com. That's my website where you can support me. There's a link to my Patreon. That's the best way to support this and keep it going. There's also a whole bunch of affiliate links. Change your bookmarks to affiliate links. If you don't use bookmarks and you just use like the start typing into the URL bar, you can remove your current suggestion for Amazon.com, for example, and hit my affiliate link a couple times in a row, and then your browser will think that when you type AMA for Amazon, you want to go to my affiliate link. That's how you can support me without even thinking about it. In the chat, Cole Powers was first, Levster, Frank Nicholas, Benny Bravo, Kazuma, Notice, Weedlead FPV, Moss1, Douglas 6, Fizz PV, Bob Bruce, Sleepy FPV, Juicy FPV, Notice Again, Frosty, Uriel, Jimmy Sprinkles, Mark Johnson, Flycadelic, Yukon FPV. What's up, friends? Thanks for coming. Skull as well. Hey, I did a little, I dove back into 04 testing yesterday. So the 04, the bigger, okay, the Mobula 704, I think that's what it's called, came in this frame here, set up for the 45mm bigger props, and a 2S battery. 1002 motors. 1002 motors. No, they're 1102 motors, 11,000 kV. Flew great. I bent one of the motor shafts while I was waiting for a replacement set of motors. I threw these Beta FPV 1102 18,000s on it. Motor limited them down. It seemed totally fine with these motors as well. I then took that and I put it into a Mobula 8 frame for 2-inch propellers with the Happy Model 1103 11,000 kV motors. Right now this is on bi-blades because I've run out of the tri-blades. These Happy Model 1103 motors, the motor shaft is a little short, and the Gemfan tri-bladed props 2023, what the hell are they? These bi-blades are 2015. I think they're 2023, don't quote me on that, but the Gemfan tri-blades that have like the blade profile of these bi-blades, they're awesome, but they pop off these motor shafts, and I've lost a ton of them. I need to start doing the dental floss trick. I think that's the move for these, because scraping up the inside of those props with my fine-tipped tweezers is not working. They keep popping off. This build on these bi-blades is nowhere near as good. It's amazing on the Gemfan tries, but on these bis, it's not quite enough. And so I was just flying it yesterday to discharge some batteries. I lost the last one of the tri-blade props. I put it onto these bi-blades. I was not super happy with it. I said, you know what? Let me get it onto the... I have this other Mobula 8 frame that I've been meaning to test with a set of RC & Power 1002... 1003 motors on it, which are 22,000 kV, which is too high of a kV. Let me switch it over to this frame with these motors and see how it is. Again, 1103, 11,000 kV on 2S. 1003, 22,000 kV on 2S. So I motor limited it way down, and I ran... very low pitch propellers. The ESC is not happy. Having a 22,000 kV motor, even motor limited down, it's just too much. And 1003 is like a big ass motor. Can't really recommend. There is a lower kV version of these motors. I forget what kV it is. These are, again, the RC & Power 1003s. You can't run these 22,000s on 2S. It's too much. You have to motor limit it too far down. So this is not really... this could be a little bit better. In terms of the ESC kind of getting hot and flashing ESC core temperature warnings and shit like that, these motors are not... because they're too high of a kV. in terms of like trying to evaluate the performance of these 1003s versus these Happy Model 1103s, they're not as good. These Happy Model 1103s are absolute beasts. These RC and Power 1003s are either the performance is being affected by them being way too high of a KV, or they're just not as good of a motor. The 1103 is kind of the way to go. It's okay. And so these props, these are, like I said, a much lower pitch propeller. I used the lowest pitch propeller I could. These are the GemFan 2008s, 2008. And they make some power, but it's just, there's nothing about it that outperforms the 1103 kind of setup. So yeah, I'm super tempted to snag a set of these RC and Power 1003s in the lower KV, but I'm totally happy with this. And so I'm not going to go bananas trying to fix what's not broken. So this is the way to go. This is going to get pulled out of here. Anybody that has a 1S setup that wants to make a ton of power, these 1003s will do it. 22,000 kV is yeah, it's 1S kV. So anybody that wants these motors, they will be up on Etsy at some point. If you want to snag them before they're on Etsy, let me know. RC and Power 1003, 22,000 kV. I've only run a couple batteries on them. They haven't even really been crashed, so they are absolutely fresh. So this thing is going to come apart. The next frame that this AIO and 04 and Canopy are going to go on is this guy right here. This is an old school Betaflight 85 millimeter frame. Or I might, oh well, no, that's right. These motors require this frame. So this frame is 4-bolt. See it there? This frame is for 4-bolt motors. These are for 3-bolt motors. And so I've got these old ass RCX 1103. Oh boy, I didn't realize the KV was so low. Shit sticks. They're 1103 7800 kV motors. Balls. 7800 kV is not quite enough, I don't think, for 2S. Maybe I'll try. Maybe I'll throw it in here just to see, and then I'll take it right back apart. Well, I was really looking. I've been holding on to these RCX 1103s forever. Realistically, though, they're gonna need either 3S or like a 4 or 5 blade Cinewhoop kind of propeller. And in that case, the fact that they're 1103, they're probably going to be a little bit too small. So there's a chance I'll go into this frame. Probably not, though. If anybody wants these motors, let me know. RCX 1103 7800 kV. I don't have a great, now that I realize that they're a lower kV, I don't have a great plan for them. What I'm going to do is put it back into the Mobula 704 frame. Instead of going back into this frame where I don't have any more of the propellers that I really like, the tri-blades, I'll wait till the next time I'm doing an order to snag more of the GemFan tris. I'm going to put it back into the Mobula 7 frame set up for the 45 millimeter propellers, and we'll fly it around on here a bunch, get used to it on here, and then we can swap it back up to the 2-inch build at some point once I'm kind of used to it here, and I'll have another really cool comparison point. So yeah, that's what's going on with these guys right now. That should be kind of fun. So this guy's going to go into this. I'm going to put this right here so I don't forget about it. This is going to wait. This is just going to sit forever and never really get used, if I'm honest. In the chat, if you want to talk directly to me, just type CiottiFPV. You don't have to put an @ but you certainly can. Mike K says either 2020 or 2023. Both exist. Hold on. I'll tell you what it is. It's not the 2020. The 2020 is the quad blade. So yeah, it is the 2023. I was right. Yep. Gem Fan Hurricane 2023. These are the props for those 1103 motors. So good. So good. You patrons have access to the rough draft of the California edit. That is me flying this rig if you want to see what it's kind of capable of in 10 to 20 mile an hour wind. Long story short, it's unbelievable. It's the best flying tiny whoop for outside stuff. Just because it's got really good power and it's kind of heavy, so when the wind hits it, it's going to be affected a little bit less. Not the best for shooting through tiny little gaps and whatnot, but for like everything else, it's awesome. Kelvin says, super stoked to see you again. Sucks about the flood. I'm looking forward to my vacation soon. Gambler 500, nice. Brent Anderson says, I'm also tired of scraping the tries. Cheers. Yeah, I guess I'm not the only one having a problem with those 2023s flying off of motors. I partially blame it on those Happy Model 1103s having a short shaft. They don't have a tall motor shaft to engage the entire propeller. Mike K says, what size 2S batteries do you use on the 85? I've been using these Flywoo 420s, 2S 420s. So that Mobula 704 rig is on an XT30. I was going to move it over to BT 3.0, but then I realized that I had a bunch of XT32S batteries, and I said, what the hell, let's just leave it. And it's been so good that I just haven't changed it yet. But yeah, Flywoo's got these awesome little black and green, these little black and green 420s, 2S 420s, and they're awesome. They're nice and lightweight. The cables are nice and short, and their runtime is really good. So these are my favorite. Even better though, would be to move it over to BT 3.0 and then use the Tiny Whoop 450s and even the 300s. But yeah, it's on XT30, and I haven't changed it yet. So I got that going for me, which is nice. I watched Caddyshack the other night. It is every bit as unhinged and terrific as I remember. He's going to stiff me. I said, hey, Llama, how about, a little something for the effort? He turns to me and he says, on your deathbed, you will achieve... Never mind. I can run almost that. I can run lines on that almost that entire movie. It's absolutely outrageous. This RB says, I got a 75mm whoop, 2G4, RC Power 27,000, HQ ultralight biblade 40mm analog rig, and I get high core temperature, insanely fast. Are these the ESCs crying as well? If so, tune. Move the tune to like 1.0, top to bottom. Just take the sliders, put them all, or just choose like preset 2 or whatever. Run a tune with no tune, with just the sliders at 1.0. See if that helps. When you say RC in power 27,000 kV, what's that? What motors are those? Is that a 702? Is that an 802? Is that a 5,000,002? HQ ultralight biblade, those are good, nice and well balanced. 2G4 is being pushed really hard on a 75mm rig, but it should be able to handle it. Yeah, let me know what motors those are. Steve Jobs says, I have a Pavo Pico, and when I'm trying to pull out of a dive and turning left, it freaks out for a second and spins up one of the motors, and it almost falls out of the sky. Sounds a lot like yaw washout. The Pavo Pico is not, it's not very aerodynamic. It's also not very powerful. And so asking it to recover from dives, and it's also a cinematic specific rig. And so doing dives with it is just sort of outside of the performance envelope that Betaflight designed it for. They designed it to be as efficient as possible and as smooth as possible for cinematic work. It sounds like you're trying to fly it freestyle, which, if you if you buy a 70s Rolls Royce and take it to a track day, there's going to be all kinds of shit that goes wrong. It's the wrong tool for the right job. It's the right tool for the wrong tool for the right job. Wrong tool for the wrong job. So yeah, if you wanted to stay with that platform no matter what, you'd want to put more powerful motors on. At the very least, higher kV motors. At the very least, higher kV motors with the same stator size, maybe bigger stator volume motors. You can try different propellers. That might help if you have a perfect propeller for that existing motor. It could help a little bit. But yeah, that's a cinematic rig. Not really meant to do dives. If they have it set up on props out, try switching it to props in. That's something you can do free that does seem to help dive performance. If it's on props in, move it to props out. But yeah, cinematic rig, never gonna like doing dives. Urios is happy to see you again. Thank you, brother. This says, and good to be at the stream again. He also says, hope you're good. I am. 802. Okay, so you're doing an 802 27,000 kV RC and power motor on a 2G4. Yeah, I think you're pushing the 2G4 a little bit harder than it wants to be pushed. That's where the X12 is like really nice, and that's the main part of the reason that I never took the X12 out of this 1.6-inch rig to swap it out for a 2G4. I've played this game before with the 2G4s, and like they're really, really good, but 5 amp ESCs don't have any headroom left when you put them on bigger 802 motors and bigger propellers, bigger draggier propellers, and you ask them to carry around the weight of a 1.6-inch build. So yeah, that's my guess as to what's going on. Some people just ignore the core temperature warning and just keep going. I don't usually recommend that, but you can even change the temperature that the core temperature warning pops up in the CLI, so it just doesn't tell you that the ESCs are getting so hot. Yeah, I don't know. Kind of up to you. Back the tune off to right down the middle and play with the filtering a little bit to see if you can get it to not do that. That's what you can do for free. But I think you're just kind of pushing that 2G4 a little bit too hard. That was at least the experience that I had when trying to do ultra lightweight 1.6-inch prop rigs on the 2G4 or other ESC AIOs. Mike K says, what whoop were you just talking about? I think Mobula 704 is I believe that's the answer. Boondock Striker says, did you get the new 2-3S HDZero flight controller? I did not. I didn't even know it existed. I sent a Facebook message to Jason over at Happy Model earlier today. I said, hey, need anybody to test the new whatever it's called? And so maybe he'll send me one, maybe not. I don't really understand it other than it's for people that want 2S 75mm outdoor tiny whoops and they don't have an analog module or analog goggles. So in that respect, if like you're new to the hobby and you just went in on HDZero and you haven't gone in on analog at all, I get it, and it's going to give you an amazing flight experience. But for those of us on analog, we can save a lot of money and get pretty damn close to the same experience. I watched a little bit of Mads Tech's video, and I was absolutely blown away by kind of how bad the image quality looked of HDZero outside. I don't know if there was something weird going on with his setup, but like it looked like the most low bitrate smeary mess. I was like, yo, my main thought after watching a couple of minutes of the flight footage was I'd rather be on analog. That's just me. I really don't like the way that HDZero breaks up, and I don't like the way that like you can see like the square pixels. For whatever reason, I just prefer the way that analog looks. HDZero to me kind of it looks like bad digital in a weird way. Analog looks like old school Sony camcorder stuff, which is cool. And like you can mix that. You can literally get your old school camcorder out, shoot a bunch of B-roll with it, and edit that into analog flight footage, and it looks really, really cool. I have a couple of RC drift car edits here on the channel where I did that, and it's awesome. If I'd tried to do that with HDZero footage, it would have looked ridiculous. It wouldn't make any sense. And so, yeah, HDZero is for racing. That rig would be a super fun spec racing build setup. So I love that thing exists. It's just not for me. I don't like HDZero. I wish that I did. I'm kind of desperate to like HDZero because I have the goggles and I'm doing it. But I can't figure it out. I can't figure out a scenario where it works for me and I like it better than some other option. Trying to get used to this chair. This is a computer chair that I got for Maggie for her birthday or Christmas or something, and it's like really nice. It's a really handsome chair, but it's like flat, like the bottom part. Like I feel like it's pushing me forward. She sat in my desk chair a couple days ago, and she was like, "Oh my God, this is so much more comfortable than mine." And I was like, "Yo, I hate my desk chair. You can have it." And she said, "Deal." So we switched chairs. And I like this chair when I push it back like this, when I push against the spring. But when I'm not pushing against the spring, I feel like it's pushing me forward. I need go back, you bastard. And there's no way to force. This is one of these computer chairs with only one lever on the side. I really like the ones that have like 2 or 3 levers where you can take the seat base and angle it back a little bit. This is not one of those, and yeah, I don't know how to force I want the back to just be like right here. This would be amazing if the seat back was just pushed back a little bit. I wonder if I can like put a shim in there. Shim for computer desk chair. This is for the feet. Maybe I can 3D print something. Brett Anderson says, use BT 3.0 and XT30 by making a short connector. Use the male end of a short 2S battery and solder a female XT30. That's actually a really good idea. An XT30, a really short little BT 3.0 XT30 adapter. That's a great idea. I gotta make one of those one of these days. Steve Jobs says, it only happens going left, not going right. Yeah, that's normal. Yeah, that's normal. Try going from props out to props in or props in to props out. Give that a shot. It's worth a shot. This RB says, interesting, never looked up the FC amp max of the 2G4. Let's turn off the warnings. Thanks for the answers. You're certainly welcome, though. You Can FPV says, the night vision, though. I mean, analog cameras are unbelievable at night. You know? I don't know. Look, if you don't hate the way that HDZero looks, it's all you. As long as it's durable, it's gonna be awesome. I will try to tune as well, and when time comes, do SMTH about the flight controller. Awesome. Euro says, coming here for NATO top. Can you not keep him there? We don't want him. The last thing that we want. He ruins everything he touches. Garbage person. Okay. I've got a bunch of batteries charged. Let's dive straight into it. 1.2 versus 1.4 versus 1.6 inside the house. What do I need? A transmitter? How do we fly? What do I use? This thing to fly? It looks like I move these around. Is that it? Is that what we do? I guess I'll use these. See where I'm going. These are Fat Shark HD3s. Old school, because analog, bro. All right. First up, we're going to go biggest to smallest. 1.6 first. I've got it set up to be as light as I can. I've got this little piece of foam in here that adapts the 450 battery tray for the 300s. So I can just go like this. I don't usually recommend this for 1.6 inch prop rigs because they're mainly for flying outside. And so you might as well carry the bigger battery and get a little bit more runtime. But for flying inside the house, this is the jam. So let's do it. Let me check something real quick. Let me check something here. I'm going to start plugging these things in to double check on what gyros they've got. If I find a rig with a BMI 270 gyro, I need to show you guys as Betaflight has progressed, changing the gyro hardware filtering has also changed. And my Brandon's Baked Beans BMI 270 filtering setup is not necessarily correct anymore. I was changing the gyro hardware low pass filter to option 2. You actually need to change it to experimental. And so that's what was wrong with the wandering whoop. We're good here though. This is a ICM or a BMI gyro. And I've got this thing pushed. Okay. All right. So this is a 2G4 Mobula 7 V4 frame, Mobula 6 old school canopy, Runcam Nano 3 camera, BT 2.0, 2G4 Happy Model AIO, and then these are custom wound motors by Cloudhopper. These are custom wound 802s, and they're somewhere around 33 to 34,000 kV 802s. And then HQ ultralight 1.6 inch props. Here we go. 1.6 in the house. Not a great idea, but let's do it anyway. Why is this one lens just absolutely filthy? How does just one of these little lenses get so dirty? Ah, oh, so much better. Here we go. Oh, yeah. So with these 1.6 inch props, it's really tough. It's really tough to find a motor that pairs super well with them. 802s pair pretty well, especially on 2S. On 1S, though, we are just getting to the limits of that amount of battery voltage. And so what the most noticeable thing that I lose is response time here. So when I go full throttle, I just have to delay. Oh, boy. I just have to delay a little bit. The 1.2 and 1.4 inch rigs, especially the 1.2 inch rigs, the response time is just ridiculous on 702s. This is similar to the 1.4 inch prop rigs, in where you lose a little bit of response time, even with a cranked up tune. You get a little bit of prop wash like you saw on that first power loop there. But if you hold on the throttle for a split second longer, it's actually totally fine. It makes it a little bit harder to fly, but it's not too bad. So you saw there, I ran into the outside of that gate. All right? I came around here with a bunch of momentum this way, and I couldn't stop the momentum. That's the problem when you're flying inside the house with these heavier rigs. It's hard to get them stopped. It's hard to get them to slow down. You gotta do this. You gotta really lose the horizon. You can't corner flat like that. You see how far out it washed? Ready? Corner flat. It just wants to keep going and going and going. That's just from the weight. Yes, the bigger frame and the bigger props act like a bigger parachute. But still. 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Flies really decent. Shockingly good. But nowhere near as good as when you shave a bunch of weight. So that was 1.6. We're going to go... these rigs are all on bi-blades, by the way. We're going to go all the way down to 1.2 for as drastic of a difference as possible. All right? So this is an Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop, 2G 4AIO, Mobile 6 Canopy, Runcam Nano 3 ORT Micro V antenna, 36,000 kV 702 motors, Gemfan HQ bi-blades, 1.2, 1.2 by 2, and the Light AF frame. The Newbie Drone Cockroach Light AF frame. So now we're going down to 65. Fancy little LED back piece that I'm just still in love with from tinywhoop.com. So, there you go. There's the response time. Okay. Super noticeable, right? Hey, this is the response time that makes flying in an environment like the inside of your house a little bit more possible. Because you can make a mistake and then make a correction and maybe not crash. It does make all the direction changes a lot more insane. So you have to be ready for it. You have to be switched on to fly these. I think that was just Teddy. I'm pretty sure that was Teddy, yeah. He knocked me out of the air. Super, super fun. And now, even though it's a much smaller frame, much smaller propeller, it's much lighter. And so, if you want to corner flat, see it dig in more. And so, like a similar kind of situation here. Ay. Similar situation before. Momentum this way. It just kind of digs in a little bit better. The 1.4 that we're going to fly next is going to be even better because it's a very lightweight. This is a somewhat lightweight 1.2 inch rig. It's not that lightweight though. The 1.4 for the prop size is ultra lightweight. And so it's going to make that behavior even more noticeable. But this is what you want for flying inside the house. Super lightweight. You can make all these little last second corrections. Sometimes you just crash over and over again. As you can see, I'm getting this place put back together, finally. Taking this as an opportunity to just clean everything. Floor is like fucking spotless right now, which is great. Although I actually don't like when the floor is spotless because that makes me crazy about every single little thing that ends up on the floor. Like if once the floor gets a little bit dirty, I could ignore when like a leaf blows in or whatever, you know? Ah, I just barely missed it. Ah, hit the last one, damn it. Oof, these batteries are running down low. There we go. So a little over 3 minutes of runtime. Probably ran the battery down about the same amount. Just response time. It's just wild. I have a bunch of like stick smoothing added in to Betaflight. And so you'll get like if you do something like this, you'll get even better response time than what you can't really see that. I can feel it on the sticks just because I want the footage to look a little bit smoother. But yeah, absolute razor sharp with the 1.2. Now we're going to go to 1.4. And we're going to run 4 Weebleed 300 mAh BT 2.0 batteries in a row here. We're going to go 1.4, and then we'll go up to 1.6. I think I'll fly 2 batteries in a row on the 1.6. Almost Stevie Wondered it. Here we go. This build is Mobula 6 2024 direct soldered 0702 40,000 kV motors. I think I have a motor limited down a little bit. Gem fan 35mm S bi-blades, old school Mobula 6 canopy Runcam Nano 3, and the cool little tail LED as well. Is this one of the good cameras? This is not one of the good cameras. See how purple it is on the left there? I gotta switch this camera out. But I think this camera is direct soldered. It is indeed direct soldered. That's annoying. Yeah, I gotta get this camera out of here one of these days. See that purple tinge on the left side there? You don't get it on the right side. There's a bunch of different versions of Runcam Nano 3s. I did an entire live stream about it not too long ago. So, now we are on these. This is the highest disk loading setup of all 3 of these. Very lightweight. For the prop size. Did that go into the garbage can? It did. Where it belongs for flying like that. Okay. The flight experience is low hover point. Since it's so light and it has so much power, let me actually, this should be motor limited down a little bit, but let me just double check. Nope, it's not motor limited. Let's get it motor limited. What's 90% of 40,000 kV? That is now what this is set at. 25% hover, 24, 25, 26. Let me make sure my throttle expo is set properly. What did I just say? 26? Throttle mid is only on 24. We're going to kick that up to 26. And I'm using a bunch of expo. All right. That's the move. Floaty. Very floaty. Big props. Not a lot of weight. It gives me extra time. Oh, shit. See that? See how much time I have? Ready? Here's another one. It just gives you a lot of time for these big floaty moves. And plenty of power to kind of catch it at the bottom. Ah! I'm getting really good at that. I almost have it down. This is also going to get pretty good. Well, if it didn't have the 40,000 kV motors, it would get probably the most... There we go. Probably the most runtime out of all three of these, but... Oh my god, I almost hit Little Boo in the face! Wow! She almost caught a full dive to the face. No, no, no! No! That's unrecoverable. Hang on. Hey. The big props, not a lot of weight. Also, it just chills it out. Like, you come up in the air, you put the nose down, and it just chills. See it? Like, it's not as insane as the 1.2. Like, it cruises a little bit slower. It's a bigger prop, it's a bigger frame. It's less aerodynamic in that respect. So, like, you put the nose down and it doesn't just explode forward. It's much more calm. The 1.6-inch rig, it's heavy. And so it's got to blow more thrust downwards to keep itself up in the air. 2-minute and 50-second runtime. And then that means that more thrust is going to get spilled rearwards. And so it's going to go... It's not going to accelerate faster, but it's going to just go faster. So you've got 1.6, which... as you put the nose down, it's going to spill more thrust rearwards and push itself fast. So it's going to like accelerate slowly, but then it's going to want to cruise faster. The 1.4 is so lightweight, it's going to cruise slower, but then it's got plenty of power. And then the 1.2-inch rig, it's just nuts. Like, you put the nose down, it just starts charging forward. It's like forever hammering. You know, race... As far as I'm concerned... The 1.2-inch is the race rig, or just the do-everything-in-the-house rig. These 1.4s are like kind of the freestyle rigs, like the indoor freestyle rigs. And then the 1.6 is like the outdoor kind of cruise around the neighborhood kind of build. But any one of these will do any of the things, right? You can do anything with each one of these. 1.4 just now, we're going to go back up to 1.6. Here we go. All on bi-blades, all on Runcam Nano 3s, all roughly the same up tilt. Goggles just went bananas. That was weird. I'm going to get caught up on chat as soon as we're done with these 6 batteries. Fly your 6 batteries today, friends. I'll tell you what, man. The 1.6-inch build feels more like... This build is more similar to the 1.4 than the 1.2. No, no, no. Leave me. It's just the fucking... The weight of these... See, I couldn't get the damn thing to stop sliding to get into that gate. You gotta really... Like, that time I just pushed in a bunch of roll. I don't want to do that. I want to fly flat like this. It looks better when you fly flat. But then you got to turn in. With something this heavy, you got to turn in. You go around this gate, I got to turn in. Turn in to get it to stop. Otherwise, it just wants to... It just wants to... Just wants to keep going. Oh my god, I closed my eyes on that one. I was sure I was going to hit myself. When they're bigger like this, it's also harder to hit gaps, especially when that involves changing directions. You can get used to a 1.6-inch build, and you can do all kinds of stuff, but do you want to spend your time getting used to some shit that's not the right tool for the job? Or do you want to use the right tool for the job and focus on having fun and not have to work so hard? See how much roll I had to dial in to get it through these gates? I gotta really push roll in. Whereas if I want to do it flat, I hit the outside every time. Ugh, that was a little ugly. Oh man, I'm having such a hard time with that. What? Let's try to do the dive over here. Hey, we got it. Oh, no, no, no. No, no, no. Oh, just barely clipped it in midair. That was wild. Rejected immediately. Cool. 236. It just, even with the lightweight battery, even with these lightweight HQ props, it just feels too big and heavy. There's just nothing that this does better. This ain't it. This is for carrying around a bigger battery and getting more runtime and bombing up and down the street outside. That's what 75mm 1S does well. That's kind of it. A little bit of a kind of one-trick pony. But, yeah, if you just want to cruise around the neighborhood without a worry in the world, 1S 75mm will absolutely do that. I think you should go 2S, though, because 2S will do it as well, but it'll also give you a horrendous amount of power and even more runtime. And so, yeah, this is not the way. But these two guys are. We're going to go from 1.6 down to 1.2 so that you can really see. Nope, we're going to go to 1.4 so that you can, we'll bounce back and forth so that you can hopefully see the difference between these two. The difference is the weight. Notice the way that this changes directions and how I don't, when I want to change directions, I can corner flat. I don't have to do this to get it to put the brakes on and then kind of dive it through. You know what I mean? Here we go. 1.4. Sounds very similar, actually. It's just, my God, there's just in here, you can feel the fucking weight. Like, I can actually make little corrections in here. I don't have to be absolutely pin perfect. I can just be smoother. Ay, ay. I'm getting lazy on the sticks right now. Nope, 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 nope. Yeah, that hang time, brother! Ah, I couldn't figure out which... I couldn't figure out where I wanted to go on that one. If I wanted to go for the hanging gate or the cube gate. No. Ah! I gave it a little too much vertical. This just, man, this thing, it just ties everything together. I can just, there's like, I don't have to make as many corrections. I can just turn left, then turn right, go backwards. It just feels so good, man. It's our new tent. Put it together for the kids for a sleepover. And they had such a blast that I figured we'd leave it put together for them. We don't do anything else up at that loft anyway, so. No! Oh no! I ain't getting out of here. Oh! The full desk power loop, my friends. 2 minutes and 33. Some of these batteries are more abused than others. Runtimes are pretty similar on all three of these. I'm actually pretty surprised by that. That's a 1.4-inch lightweight rig, yo. Last but not least is back to the 1.2-inch rig. I'm going to push the camera angle down a little bit on this to try to fucking chill it out a little bit. Because it's just a maniacal amount of speed. But that's just kind of what these 1.2s do. P-Money with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, brother. He says, hey, Ciotti, just a gift. By the way, I have drifting issues on my HX115. I did all the Betaflight adjustments and changed the frame too. No luck. So yeah, you're fighting against physics. There's nothing that Betaflight can do against the laws of physics. That is, I'm pretty sure that that's a toothpick. Here, hold on. So, a toothpick, if you look at it cross-sectionally, it's gonna just slide, right? There's really like nothing other than the canopy to block the wind. So you turn it, and it just wants to keep sliding. And so when you turn it, you can either put a bunch of roll in to blow a bunch of thrust that way to kill it and get it started, or you can do something with ducts. When you've got something with ducts and you look at it cross-sectionally, look at all there is here to block the wind, right? Which one do you think is going to slide around versus not slide around, right? So with a whoop, with something that when you look at it sideways, it doesn't... If you build like a more... Just take whatever the rig is, hold it sideways, and just look at it. And the more vertical surface, the less it's going to slide. And so with something like this, with all this vertical surface, if you rotate it flat, all this vertical is going to hit the wind, and it's going to slow it down, and it's just going to turn. There's literally nothing in Betaflight that's going to have any effect on that. You can turn the PIDs all the way up. You can turn them all the way down. You can change anything you want in Betaflight. It's never going to be able to affect how slidey a rig is. This is how the rig is built. Toothpicks are the absolute worst because all they have is a central canopy. You can get a little bit better performance by moving over to something that pushes the camera forward and it pushes the camera up here, because then you've at least got this school bus canopy area to block some wind. It's still not going to block as much wind as a toothpick, mainly because it's heavier. The more mass you add, when you turn, it's got more energy. And so it's a little bit... Toothpicks are the most slidey from a cross-sectional, like, aerodynamic perspective, but toothpicks are nice and lightweight. So the fact that they have less mass will prevent them from sliding, but they're still very slidey. A tiny whoop is as lightweight as a toothpick, but it's got that cross-sectional shit going on. When you take a toothpick and you move the camera forward, a lot of times it gets heavier. So aerodynamically, it's going to be better, but then it's going to be heavier, and it's going to want to slide as well. So if you can find a toothpick frame that just pushes the camera forward and doesn't weigh that much extra, it'll give you a little bit of that aero benefit, and it'll potentially be offset by the weight. The other thing you can do is add propellers. The more blades, the more grip. And so bi-blades like this, you don't always corner totally flat. Sometimes you'll come up a little bit. And when I come up a little bit, now you can see the propellers. If you can see the propellers, how many blades there are is going to affect things. And so the more blades, the more obstruction. This is a quad blade rig, and you can kind of see those gray blades in there. And so that's the cheap thing that you can do, is to go from a 2-blade to a 3-blade, or a 3 to a 4, 4 to a 5, 6, even up to 8, depending on the prop size. So yeah, man, you're fighting against physics. Betaflight ain't going to help at all. Betaflight makes sure that they don't wobble around in the air, but it won't change the flight characteristics at all. So yeah, that's what you can do. You can make it lighter, you can run more blades, or you can run a different frame that's less aerodynamic from the side. 1.2 inch. My God. These feel like they read your mind. If you have young guy reflexes, 1.2s for the win. And just for general purpose, like, the 1.4 inch builds are kind of a pain in the ass. This is an Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop on a 2G4 build, on a 2G4 AIO. This is about as good as it gets. Outrageously durable. Good analog video quality. Light enough. This is Tiny Whoop Nirvana. It washed out a little bit there, and I couldn't get it through that gate. If this was a 1.4 inch build, I would have been okay. Woo! Caught it. There is nothing wrong with this. This is still arguably the best indoor flight experience you're going to get. This is certainly the most... oh shit, what did I just hit? What's the word for it? This is the most versatile indoor setup. You can use like any AIO. Lots of frame options. Works for racing, works for freestyle. And the response, my God, the response time is just outrageous. This is so much fun to harass your children with. Ah, it just got hung up on the wall a little bit there. We had a run going, didn't we? Crazy run time with this setup. It's just, it's a lot, man. Like, there's a lot going on. Hey. Ah! The newbie drone gate strikes again. I tried to rearm it in the air. Ah! Come on now. Be cool. Try a railgun. Nope. I swear to God, ever since I named the railgun, I've gotten worse at it. There was a bit of a railgun. Not quite there, though. 3 minutes and 7 seconds of runtime. Ridiculous flight performance. Ridiculous power. Yeah, this build. And I mean, that's on bi-blades. I actually really like these on tri-blades. I did a stream on the new HQ quad blades as well. The quad blades are a bit much. I think tri-blades are the sweet spot. But these bi-blades are very fun. The bi-blades are more fun to fly. They're just not more accurate. The tri-blades have the best mix of like grip and accuracy. And yeah, they're sort of that cool middle ground. But these bi-blades, you hammer the throttle, you zero the throttle, and it just sails across the room. And it's just so much fun to fly it in that way. So yeah, man, that is kind of it. That is the best sort of comparison that I can give. 1.2, 1.4, and 1.6. They're all very kind of specific, and they're all very noticeably different flight experiences. Nowadays, we've got enough different motors and props, and good motors and good props, where you can make any one of them fly good. What you just saw are 3 of the best combinations of parts that I've seen on these things. This 75mm rig is the Mobula 7 V4 frame, which is awesome. The 2G4 AIO, which is durable as... I'm sorry, the X12 AIO, which is durable as hell, but admittedly a little bit too heavy. It's so good on 2S, but on 1S it's kind of like, why? 0802, 33,000 kV motors. A lot of kV, but we're trying to just get any power out of them. The HQ 1.6-inch bi-blades, ultralight bi-blades, Runcam Nano. These all have Runcam Nano 3 and the old school canopies. Yeah. Cranked. Like, juiced up rig. Big power motors. The 1.4-inch build is arguably even more extreme. Mobula 6 2024 version 1, the direct soldered one. 0702, 40,000 kV motors. I actually have them limited down to 36,000 kV. Still mega kV motors. Gemfan 35mm S bi-blades, big old propellers. Betaflight Meteor 65 Pro frame. And a micro V up on top. Right now, this is my favorite. These 1.4-inch rigs are my absolute favorites at the moment. These motors are a little too high of a kV, but they're direct soldered, so I'm not going to change them. Really, the ideal motor for this rig, for me, is the 0702 32,000 or 32,500 kV motor. Plenty of power. You get more efficiency. You don't have to motor limit it down. But this, for me, for freestyle inside the house, this is just so good. That little bit of extra float, the fact that it cruises around a little bit slower, it just fits inside. It just works inside your house better than anything else for that freestyle kind of flight experience. Not really for racing, though. For racing, it's got to be the 1.2. The extra response time and just the fact that it just cuts through the air because it's smaller is really amazing. This particular one is Happy Model 2. This is about as good as it gets. Happy Model 2G4 AIO, Mob 6 canopy, Runcam Nano 3 camera, ORT Micro V, Newbie Drone Light AF frame. The Newbie Drone Cockroach 65 V3 frame is more durable but a little bit heavier. So if the Light AF frame doesn't break on you, if you don't crash hard enough to break it, awesome, run this frame. If not, the V3 frame is the way to go. And then these are 702 36,000 kV motors, and then just run HQ ultralight props. It doesn't matter which ones. They're all really, really good. These bi-blades are awesome for like sailing across the room, 0 throttle. But the 1.2 by 0.9 by 3 tri-blades are more accurate, and you'll hit more gaps with them. So yeah, that's all 3 of these, man. All 3 of these fly astoundingly good. But 1.6 definitely the hardest to fly inside the house. I think the 1.4 is actually the easiest to fly in the house because it's the slowest. And it's got the most float. The only problem is you lose a little bit of response time. The 1.2, having the razor quick reflexes, sometimes you'll make a correction and not crash. The bigger props, the heavier props on the same size 0702 motors on this, you don't get that like super razor's edge response time, and so there could be a situation where it's about to crash. You push the correction in, it doesn't react quite quick enough, and you still end up crashing. It almost sort of depends on if you've got young guy brain or old man brain. For old man brain, I think 1.4 is the way to go. But there's nothing wrong with these 1.2s, and the fact that you can run these with the 2G4 AIO with no modifications is absolutely magic. Apparently, you can direct solder the camera to the 2G4, and it will fit in the Mobula 6. In the Meteor 65 Pro frame, but I haven't tried that yet, so I don't know what to say about that. But also, with these 1.4-inch builds, you want them to be super lightweight, and the 2G4 is not super lightweight. The Mobula 6 2024 AIO and the Air 65 AIOs, those are super lightweight. Not the Matrix, though. The Matrix AIO weighs the same as the 2G4. But you won't have to modify it, which is kind of nice. So, there you go, friends. That is 1.2 versus 1.4 versus 1.6. Let me get caught back up on Chad. CiottiFPV says, I can't see shit. Yeah. With the CO3, BI and Antlight are a little bit better. I haven't noticed that about the CO3. I haven't noticed that it's not good in low light. Lord Reggian says, did you turn in your iGow for this week? I did not. I do not do iGow. I can't do it. I got mine in, knew it all this, and yeah, let's just say fun. For one who's ever put a video on YouTube, my audio is shit, lol. Yeah, you guys should all go do iGow. It's amazingly fun. I can't do an edit. I have so many other edits that need to take priority over an iGow edit every single week that I can't justify it. But you guys should. iGow is amazing. You will become a much better pilot after having done it. And it's just great. And you should definitely do it. Oh! I wanted to plug these guys in to try to find a BMI 270. Hold on. And I do have like one extra battery here, so hold on. If I can find one of these that has a BMI 270, I want to show you what we've been kind of doing wrong here. What the hell's happening? Come on, Betaflight. Don't be a dick. Unplug. Replug. Oh, come on, you fart bag son of a bitch. Come on now. You can do it. There it is. Hey, here's a BMI 270. All right, so this is on Betaflight 4.4. Let me guess. Yeah, look at this. So I'm all right. I'm gonna throw one of these batteries on the charger. 3.7, no. 3.8, there we go. Yep, leave this one on the charger. Okay, I have a little 270 mAh battery. All right, so here's Brandon's baked beans. Here's his really good BMI 270 filtering setup. You go into the presets and you use the 4.5 filter settings for clean. You do one harmonic at 100 hertz minimum frequency. Gyro low pass 2, 135 hertz cutoff on PT2. And then this is the thing that's kind of screwed up right now. Set gyro hardware low pass filter equals option 2. We actually want experimental. This used to be correct in older versions of Betaflight, but then they changed it in the CLI. And so that has been and when Brandon first gave me this filtering setup, it worked awesome. And then as time went on, it worked less awesome. And this is why. So in the CLI, if we go get space gyro, one of these options will be gyro hardware. Here it is, gyro hardware low pass filter. So since I typed get, we're not going to change it. We're just going to look at what it currently is. Hit enter, and the default value is normal. And then we've changed it to option 2, but what we actually want is experimental. And that kind of depends if you're on, I want to say Betaflight 4.2 or maybe even 4.3. Option 2 is probably still correct. This is one of the things that's kind of annoying about updates. So we're going to go set gyro hardware low pass filter, and this is only for BMI 270 gyros, and this is only if you're going to do the rest of the settings that I just showed you. Not option 2, it's experimental. And so we're going to hit save. And now this build was tuned. This was as far as I was able to get the filter sliders. Why is it on profile 2? Oh my god, profile 1 is absolutely cranked. What in the Sam Hill? I think profile 1 is what this AIO came with out of the box. I'm going to just check this over real quick. I'm not changing anything that drastically affects this. Okay, so by putting that onto experimental, I bet you I'll be able to push the tune up. We're going to disconnect. I'm going to put a battery on this, and we're going to fly it real quick. And I'm gonna fly it. I'm gonna land. I'm gonna crank the tune up. I'm gonna fly it again. I'm gonna land. I'm gonna crank the tune up. And in theory, I'm gonna be able to get this thing dialed in even nicer. Watch this. Here we go. First and foremost, will it just fly away to the moon? Because what we just did is we took a lot of the gyro hardware filtering away. That's why we have such an aggressive gyro 1 filter down on PT2 at 135. Essentially, without putting it to experimental, it's super over filtered. And when you're over filtered, there's a bunch of delay. I swear to God, it feels like there's less latency. There should be. This feels incredible. Here's the big test, though. Simplified tuning. Fuck it, we'll go all the way. This is a massive change. Well, we are now bordering on overtuned. Not surprising that I can't make that big of a change. But that's a nice change there. I'll be damned. No, it's still over. Whoa, yeah, still overtuned. I'll be damned. Okay. On the Wandering Whoop, that absolutely worked. Quad 66 did that. Quad 66 realized that and did that. Don't! Come on! Stop! Stop beeping. Oh. Okay. Something bad has happened. Oh boy. So I mean, we're back where we were. I'm trying to get it back to me. We are back where we were, but all of a sudden it's lost its goddamn mind. Which is super weird because it was fine when the battery was fully charged. Hold on. Let me see what's going on here. The battery had shifted like way far back. Something happened? What are you unhappy about, little fella? Oh! Oh my god. I don't want to walk. Is it too much to ask to not walk? Yes. Yeah. Wow, what the hell happened to this? What? How the hell was it completely fine on the fully charged battery, but now that the battery has sagged down a little bit, it's a complete nightmare. Let me go into turtle mode and spin each motor up. Oh yeah, motor 1 is banged up for sure. Well, motor 2 is not loving life either. 4 is okay. Ooh, these motor shafts are bent. Huh. Nope. Okay. We're gonna unplug it as it is. We're gonna change it back. And we're gonna see what's what. Maybe we really did want to be on option 2, and the Wandering Whoop is just a weird fringe case. I don't know. Let's see. So we're gonna go set, gyro, hard. Actually, let's just do get first, just to confirm. Yeah, it is on experimental right now. Grab this. We're gonna put it back to option 2. And we're not gonna change anything else. Just gonna put the exact same battery back into it. See if it wants to fly away. All right, ready? Strange. Let's do this. I'm going to put this back to sort of a regular filtering setup. And we're going to see how that is. So, come in here, connect. And I'm actually going to do this with presets. What is this, 4.4? Look at this, 4.3 filter settings for clean build with RPM filtering. That's interesting. I've never noticed that before. Let me use this. Oh, it doesn't have the, it doesn't have some of the smoothing options. If I search for clean, what the hell? Why do these all say 4.3? What happened to the 4.5s? Oh, this firmware is set to 4.4. Look at that. There we go. So what I usually use is 4.5 clean. I don't want very clean. I just, where's the, there it is. 4.5 clean with RPM filtering. Oh, there are no options in here. Okay, so I'm actually going to use the 4.3 because look, it says that it's for 4.3 and 4.4. So this is new. 4.3 clean build with RPM filtering. Save and reboot. So this is going to remove Brandon's secret kind of setup and put us onto a more normal setup. It's probably not going to fix the hardware low pass filter, but that's okay. I'll go into the CLI and fix that. Why is this interesting? Why is the dynamic notch filter turned off? Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus, why? No. I don't want that. Okay. There's a fly flying around, and it's upsetting me. Okay. Dynamic filter is back on. Great. Gyro RPM filter down to 1 harmonic. There's absolutely no reason for 3. This is interesting here. Go up to 800 on this. Okay. That's all fairly normal. Now we're going to go get gyro hardware low pass filter. Gyro hardware low pass filter equals normal. Okay, cool. So that preset did knock that out. All right, let's just go for it as is. This is with not stock filtering, but somewhere close to stock filtering. Super curious to see how this is real quick here. It's probably going to be fine. So it's fine, but now what we're going to do is crank the tune up, because this is how we really get to see if these filter settings are working. It's almost overtuned. I made that huge change, though. A little bit less of a change here. And it'll be better. If I'm honest, it doesn't feel as good as it did on Brandon's setup. It feels like there's maybe just a hair more latency. Which makes sense, that there is hardware filtering, and then there is all the Betaflight filtering in addition to that. I'm going to plug this back in. There's a battery on the charger. We're going to give that a second to finish. And then we're going to make another change or two here. Okay. Just thinking. I'm thinking about thinking. I'm thinking. Cole Power says, put a big weight in the back of your chair. Would tilt you back a bit, and if you fall over, it's entertainment for us. Win-win. Weebleed says, you should test our newest motor. WEX 802, 32,500, 1.5 millimeter TreeToppers. So that is almost identical to the motor that I was just running here on this guy. So the performance would be super, super, super similar. That is the right motor for a 1S 75 millimeter rig. I just don't like the way that 1S 75 millimeter rigs fly. The going to 2S in that scenario is just it's so much more power, so much better response time, so much more efficiency. I kind of can't go back, to be honest. Render says, did they send you the Mobilate AIO 15? They did not. I didn't even know it existed. Render also says, I agree the 75 millimeter AIO 5 I have with the vegan motors and props, but it's better for medium freestyle and cruising. Yeah, man, for sure. For sure. Thank you again for the super chat, BP Money. Oh, God. Speaking of people that are supporting me, Natter FPV, thank you for joining the Patreon, friend. Who's been thinking about joining the Patreon? Just go do it. It's a good time to go do it, too, because it's approaching the end of the month, and at the beginning of the month, I do 4 giveaways. 3 of those giveaways are for patrons. So if you've been thinking about joining the Patreon, do it now, and then I'll give you a shout-out, and then you'll get in on these giveaways. When you win the giveaways, it's like $40, $50, $60 worth of stuff. That's going to cover your Patreon for quite a while. So do it, yo. Natter, welcome to the Gangly Gang, brother. Thank you for the support. I think there was one more. Yes, Alex Granite, thank you for joining, my friend. Welcome to the Gangly Gang. Your support is very much appreciated. And then Craig with a $25 PayPal. He says, here's something to help with the monthly Patreon drought. Thank you so much, brother. That was a couple of weeks ago, but my email has been a war zone. Thank you so much, Craig. Super generous of you. Right. That is good to go. We're going to hop into Betaflight here. And I'm going to put this onto 4.5. I'm going to put this on the Betaflight 4.5. Maybe Betaflight 4... Oh... I bet you Betaflight 4.4, option 2 is the correct option. I bet you in 4.5 is where I need to go to experimental. So let's do that. We are going to go into the CLI. We're going to type diff. This is going to give me everything that's different. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to select all of it. Copy it. Now it's in my clipboard. We're going to go to update firmware, auto detect, auto. What? Why? What? Oh, this is using some weird generic target. Update firmware. Shit, man, I don't know which one this is. It's probably a Super X. Oh. There is no Super X. Okay. Let's look for STM. STM 32F411. What the hell? Happy model Mobula 6 2024 V1 Betaflight target. On Happy Model's website, Command F, search for the word target. There we go. Oh, nope. Not the Express LRS target. Here we go. Oh, look, they only have 4.4. And they actually want you to run it on 1.6K. I ain't doing that. I'm not going to update this to 4.5, I don't think. Factory firmware 4.4.0, 442. What? Hold on. Yeah. Okay. I feel like I've been through this before. I'm sure that I have. STM32F411. I don't think you can get this onto 4.5. STM32F411 Discovery. This is in theory what I would need to do. I'll be damned. Let's try it. Famous last words. 4.5.2 full chip erase. Yeah, it's fine. Let's go for it. For the culture. Load firmware online. Flash firmware. Ignore the risk. Connected board is unknown. You selected F411 Discovery. Yeah, it's fine. Let's give it a shot. In case you wanted to try to get your Mobula 6 2024 onto Betaflight 4.5, this is in theory what you would do, although it's not really cooperating right now. I do have my transmitter turned on. Sometimes that creates some weirdness. Right now, it's not going into DFU mode, though. So we can't even get... We can't really get anywhere. All right, so hold on. Let's quit out of Betaflight. Let's give that one more try. Who's got a Mobula 6 2024? Uh-oh. Unplug, replug. Ah, there we go. Okay, so we're fine. Update firmware. STM F411 Discovery 4.5.2 full chip erase. Load firmware online. Flash firmware. We're going to try this one more time. Ignore the risk. Continue. There it goes. Okay, let's see. Calvin, what have you done this with yours, or just leave it on 4.4? I should not be doing this. I should just leave it on 4.4. But if somebody's gonna do this and brick some shit, I'd rather it be me, so that you guys all learn not to. Especially with a lot of the talk of these 1.4-inch builds, I want to like refine them, and I'm willing to eat shit here to. I don't know. Fly, get the hell out of here, man. It's a big like OG house fly. Get them. Here's how you get them. You just clap above them. Works every other time. Like if the fly's here, if the fly like lands on something, you clap up here. And it sees your hands move, and it goes to fly away, and it flies right into your hands. And you clap that motherfucker. All right, here we go. So it is on some version of 4.5. Whether or not it's the right one, who knows. I've just pasted into the diff. There we go. And we're looking for that red text. There's a lot of red text. That's a lot of red text. Red text means that it doesn't understand what you've typed, because in different versions of Betaflight, they change the names of things in the CLI. So this resource PPM, it ain't right. I don't think this is gonna work. This isn't gonna work. I'm gonna have to flash this back to 4.4. Mag hardware none, Barra hardware none, black box sample rate. This is too much. Yeah, this is too much. But let's just try this. Let's go into the motors tab and see if it'll spin the motors up. I can pretty much guarantee you that it won't. But we will just try it for the sake of argument. Battery's hooked up. I did not save that a second ago, by the way. This. Nope, we got nothing. Bidirectional D-shot, let's turn that on. Agree. The fly was just on my head. Save and reboot. Didn't change the firmware version. Yeah, it's because you're a smart person. There we go. Let's try this again. Nah. It ain't. There's a... This is the wrong version of the firmware. Yeah, so I need to put this back. Well, I might as well go to the 4.42 firmware. Is that what I downloaded? 442? It is. So if you do that to your Mobula 6 2024, what you're then going to do is load firmware local here, and you're going to point it at the file that you're going to download from Betaflight website. Sorry, Happy Models website, which is that right there. Load firmware local. Downloads. Where the hell is it? There it is. Betaflight 442 hex. Open. Flash firmware. Ignore the risk. Go, go, go. So now we're going from 4.4.0 to 4.4.2, which is there's no difference. There's no realistic difference. But this will get it flyable again. Super interesting. I gotta find another build that's on 4.4.5 with a BMI 270, and then I can try that option 2 versus experimental on the gyro hardware low pass filter. Tobias says, what AIO do you recommend for a freestyle 75mm build? Depends if it's going to be 1S or 2S. I highly recommend 2S. And the Happy Model X12 AIO is awesome for that. Weebleed says, check your Instagram DM. Something new is dropping soon. I shall. Very cool. Look forward to that. Kelvin says, no, we got that. Kelvin just killed the AI a while ago, but I didn't change the firmware version. All right. Frosty says, I need an antenna and camera mount printed. How can I send you the STL? All my contact info is on CiottiFPV.com, Discord, Instagram, Facebook, email. Yeah. I got them all. Okay, so now we just loaded that 442. We're going to connect. No motor output protocol selected. That's fine. I'm going to clap the fly. Here we go. Ah, so close. I clapped too fast and he didn't go. He didn't die. Sometimes you have to power cycle the AIO. Let's do that. Unplug. Replug. Connect. I know. Sometimes you also have to restart Betaflight because FPV. Here we go. ST411. I know. Come in here. Take that diff. Drop it in. Now we're going to have no red text because this is a diff from Betaflight 4.4, which is going to be the same thing as 4.4.2. So now we're good to go. Save. This is now exactly as it was 10 minutes ago, but on 4.4.2 instead of 4.4. And so that also means that those PID changes that I'd made are here. I'd wiped out Brandon's secret BMI 270 kind of setup. I'm actually super curious as to what the filters are right out of the box on 442. Let me do this. Let me show you guys something kind of cool. Load firmware local. I'm going to do exactly what I just said. I'm going to wipe out that diff that I put in there. Flash firmware. This is going to set this back to totally stock. And now what I'm going to do here is paste the diff. So this is that full diff. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly scroll through this, and I'm going to remove anything surrounding filtering. I don't want it to change any of the filtering. Beacon, map, aux, adjustment range, VTX table. Here we go. So, gyro low pass filter, dynamic notch count, gyro low pass filter. Take all that out. I'm gonna put that somewhere safe. Just down here somewhere. Oh shit. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Instead of just deleting it, I'm gonna cut it, and then I'm gonna put it somewhere safe down the bottom here. Okay. There might be more filtering stuff in here. Mag hardware, bar hardware, none. That's fine. Min check, max check. That's fun. RC smoothing. That's fine. I said fun. I meant fine. RC smoothing, auto. This is the stick smoothing. Serial RX. It's fine. Black box sample. D shot. Idle. That's fine. Motor PWM. Fine. Motor poles 12. Okay. We're looking for filtering specific stuff. Beeper, battery, okay, small angle, deadband, no, we're good. Here's all my OSD stuff. System HSE megahertz equals 8. I don't know what that is. Debug mode, VTX stuff, video system flash, set gyro 1 SPI. What's that about? Huh, why do I have to change that? Sensor alignment, we got to leave that alone. I guess I'll leave this in here. That's interesting. RPM filter harmonics, I am going to leave that to 1. That's totally fine. RPM filter Q is different in here. That's kind of interesting. I'm going to pull that out. Put it down the bottom. In case I need it again. I think I used to change the RPM filter Q factor to make it a little bit less latent. VTX band, flash SPI, profile 1, set. Here we go. Here's some more stuff. Here's some more stuff that I'm going to pull out. Set D-term low pass filter, D-term low pass filter, D-term. Cool. So I'm going to remove those. This is crash recovery here. I-term relax cutoff 10, that's fine. PID, that's fine. Before I forget, let me put this stuff down here. Feed forward pitch, motor output limit. Set feed forward averaging, that's fine. Set simplified I gain, D gain, simplified pitch, feed forward, here we go. Simplified D term, filter multiplier. Simplified pitch, PI gain. Take these guys out, put these guys down here. All right, so that should be almost all of the filtering changes that are in here. So now I'm going to grab everything. Just like before. I'm going to copy it, but I'm going to leave these filter changes out, right? And so now this just put totally stock 4.1. Apply custom defaults. That's great. Connect. No motor call. No motor protocol. That's fine. Come in here. Paste it. Look for red text. There will not be any. So now we've got the stock filtering. The stock Happy Model Module 6 2024 filtering. And I can confirm that by coming in here. Rates are good. Okay. Yep. So now we've got a dynamic low pass filter. I do just have that one gyro filter harmonic, and I am going to move this max frequency up to 800 here, but I'm going to leave this alone. Yeah, I'm going to leave this alone. These are the filters that this Mobula 6 2024 comes with right out of the box. This D-term filter is too aggressive, though. 1.0 is too much. I'm going to move this up to 1.2, and I'm going to save it. That's the only change I'm making, though. Now let's see how this thing does. Battery is fully charged. PIDs are kind of aggressive. I'm super interested to see what this does on fairly stock filtering. Here we go. Might just fly away. But let's see. Transmitter coming up. All right. Well, I don't even need it. I can just arm it and blip it up and down a minute. Come on. Oh, God. Almost hit myself in the hair. So it's fine so far. Let's push the tune. Nope. No better. Oops, that's accelerometer. That's angle mode. Nope. No better. So, with the stock filtering, we still can't push the tune. Let's do this, though. Let's try something. Oh, and the core temperature is spiking. Let's try something. Let's try making our like a lot of the standard filtering changes that we make first, and then the last thing that we'll do is we'll go back to Brandon's BMI 270 setup. So connect on a normal rig that was having these problems. I mean, what I would actually do is back off the PIDs, but having the PIDs aggressive like this is a great way of showing how good or bad your filtering is doing. We're going to take a whole bunch of filtering away. I'm going to crank this D-term filter multiplier from 1.2 up to 1.6, save it, and we're just going to see right now if it's an over-filtering problem. This might make it better. If this makes it better, then the problem was almost definitely well, it's way more flyable. It's still on the edge though. These are the highest PIDs that I've been able to have it on. It flies awesome with the PIDs cranked up like this. So this right here is a slightly better filtering setup. Sorry. So sorry. Next up, we're going to take some of this gyro filtering out of it. We're going to turn this to on. Actually, what I'm going to do is take a quick screenshot because I want to see what happens to these gyro filters here. So we're going to take that screenshot and we're going to take this to on and we're going to crank this all the way up. And now let's compare. So dynamic 250 min cutoff goes up to 500. 500 goes up to 1,000. PT1. Gyro low pass 2. Okay, so we've just made the gyro filtering much less aggressive. So we've removed even more filtering. At some point, oh my God, there's 3 dynamic notch filters. Why? We're going to take that down to 1. Usually you only need 1 dynamic notch filter if you're using gyro RPM filtering. So I just removed a ton of filtering from this thing. Let's disconnect and see what happens. This I might have just removed too much filtering. Let's see. Let's give it a try. Yep. Yeah, so that's... We've gone too far. Let's turn one of those notch filters back on. This is how you tune without black box, my friends. It's not that bad. So let's turn one of the dynamic notches back on, and that's the only change I'm gonna make. I don't think that's gonna fix it. But let's see. Come on. Way better. Much better. Can I push the tune further? This is how you can really tell. Let's try it. Nope. Now the tune's back on the edge. Well, actually, no. Let me try one more thing. Try one more thing. I'm going to leave the tune more aggressive. One of the things that we're doing here is I am... this tuning method is prioritizing the PIDs. We are pushing the PIDs as high as we possibly can and then tuning the filters rather than tuning the filters and then pushing the PIDs as high as we can. You will typically get more of a flight characteristic improvement from having the PIDs higher and having a little bit of extra filtering. I'm going to set this back to off, and then I'm going to put these. I'm going to put this gyro filter back the way that it was, so it was dynamic. Oh, I don't even need to set it to off. I can do it with the thing, with the slider, can't I? Where the hell did that screenshot go? There it is. 250, 500, 500. What do I need to do with the slider to get it to that? 250. Whoa. Oh, they basically had the gyro filter slider centered. Dynamic 250, 500 PT1, 500 PT1. Interesting. This is a lot of gyro. A lot of gyro filtering, which usually you don't need. But let's just see. Let's just see, man. 2 notches, Q factor of 300, minimum frequency 100, max 800, 1 gyro RPM, harmonic. Let's see if it can handle these PIDs. These PIDs are through the roof right now, but that's okay. Here we go. Better or worse? About the same. Hey, what was that? Jesus Christ on a crutch. Okay. This is still a little bit too much. This is great, though. And this is a significantly more aggressive tune than it had earlier. And now it's broken. Left rear motor's blown up, or the propeller flew off, or something's going on. Ugh. Or there's a massive ball of fluff in motor number 3. Oh boy, that is a massive ball of fluff in motor 3. I gotta pull the prop off to get that out of there. That's insane. Get out of there. Get. Oh, it wrapped around the base of the... What the hell? Ooh, gross. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to pull this motor apart to clean this out. There's a simply ridiculous amount of fluff in there. Alright. Maybe I pulled enough of it out. Let's just send it, bro. Just send it. PID's turned down a little bit. It's still a little bit overtuned, if I'm honest. But the PIDs are cranked. I mean, it flew fine before. This is, admittedly, I'm being a little pedantic here by tuning it. It flew great before, but now it flies greater. Not necessarily. The tuning setup. Last thing we're gonna do. Last thing we're doing. Super quick. Super quick. Hold on. Hold on, please. What is this? What is happening in here? Can you just relax, battery? Okay. Last thing we're gonna do is go back to Brandon's setup. So here we go. Plug back in. I have this chunk down the bottom here. I'm going to copy that. Connect. CLI. Paste it. And save. Come back in. Type get gyro. Take a look at the hardware low pass filter. Right now it's on normal. Okay, so we're going to change it to option 2. Set gyro hardware low pass filter equals option 2. Save. Oh, unbelievable. Big ball of fluff just got blown somewhere. I don't know where it is. Connect again. PID tuning. Take a super quick look in here. We've got... Oh, it didn't... Why is this set to 875? Is not what I want. Brandon's setup has this on PT2. And then 135. Okay, save that. D-term filter multiplier is really low. Very weird setup. Let's turn that on and we'll move this up to 1.2. I think that's where it was. RPM filter 1. Save. Okay. Last thing. Cool. Let's try the beans tune again. Battery got a little bit of juice mashed back into it, not a lot. The PIDs are now still significantly higher than what I was able to get on this tune 15 minutes ago. So I don't think this is, I think it's just gonna fly away. Nope, that makes no sense at all, but whatever. Feels fine. Turn the tune down just a little bit. Set it back the way it was, and remember we were having the problems? They went away. This is when we were having the problems. It was this. I don't know, man. Tuning's weird. But it's back the way that it was, and it flies fine. All's well that ends well. Tuning without black box is weird. This fucking fly. He was a millimeter away from getting clapped just now. Thanks for hanging, friends. My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Wait, no. Danzilla Terrible with the last flaw. Have you learned to trust the beans? I can't believe you second guessed the beans tune. I know, man. I just, you know, the Wandering Whoop was a real challenge to tune, and moving to experimental, yeah, I don't know. Figure more about it. Hopefully Brandon watches this live stream. If he doesn't, I'm gonna bug him at some point and ask him about that option 2 versus experimental thing. Check out Quad 66's Wandering Whoop video. It is awesome, as is everything that Quad 66 does. QUAD 66, and in videos it's this. But first we wander. Wandering Whoop Part 1. Really, really, really well done. Check this out. You'll dig it. Love you guys. I'll see you Sunday at 3 o'clock Eastern time. Be good. CiottiFPV.com to support me. Here comes a little bit more ripping around this $11 billion house Monday night. Love you. Bye. See you Sunday. That's not the right button at all.